really great Yemenite rabbi. His name was Rabbi Ovadia Yavetz Z'tl. He was born in English year 1922 and passed away, to be precise, on January the 17th in English year 2011. He was approximately, I believe, 89 years of age at the time he passed away. He would be the rabbi of the city of Sa'adah in of itself. He would move to the land of Israel and will engage in various different Torah, let's just say, importances in himself. He will become the rabbi of Kiriat, Cron, and will serve as a famous mohel and the sofer stam. Let's explore some of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he came from a famous rabbinic lineage, and I believe his grandfather's name was Rabbi Ovadia Yavetz, and he happened to be the head of the Jewish court in North Yemen and was known as a great Talmudist, a great Kabbalist also, and was dealing in natural medicine. Now, I believe when Rabbi Ovadia Yavetz, the rabbi we're speaking about today, was 20 years of age, he was ordained to the rabbinate by his grandfather. But I believe his grandfather, also named Rabbi Ovadia, passed away in the year 1941. Rabbi Yaakov would take his place and serve in the rabbinate. Rabbi Yaakov, naturally, was the father of Rabbi Ovadia Yavetz, who we're speaking about here, the grandson over here. I believe, at one stage, Rabbi Yaakov passed away later on. I think he suffered from illness, unfortunately. And Rabbi Ovadia was appointed as rabbi of Sa'adah and its surroundings, areas inside these different areas in itself, these vicinities. And many of the Yemenite rabbis, let's just say, also served as a shochet, as a mohel, sofer stam, also respectively, and would also be the educators, Torah teachers in himself. He was reported over to have mastered writing and reading of Arabic, and was a linguist to some degree. You could say very, very much, was great. And he established connections with many of the leaders of that specific region in time. I believe he used many of these connections that he garnered to benefit the Jewish community, and many approached him, let's say, to represent them before the authorities. Unfortunately, there was also always anti-Semitism, unfortunately, and that very much happened, unfortunately, in Yemen also. It was customary among, let's say, Yemenite rabbis. They did not necessarily make a living from their public positions. I believe he specialized, if I'm not mistaken, as a silversmith, and would do this on side, whereas at the same time, he would have various different important public positions. And, we've related over the history of many, many great Yemenite rabbis of yesteryear in this series already. Then I think, come what, the English year 1949, it was, he would, I think it was a time period of the Operation Eagle Wings, very highly reported over and documented about. Rabbi Yavetz was instrumental in encouraging Jews, especially around the Sa'adah area, to sell their properties and immigrate to the land of Israel. He would correspond with many people in Israel. He sent letters to the Jewish people or the villagers, and would lecture and inspire people around the Sa'adah area within regards to moving Israel. He led a large group of immigrants on a journey, let's just say, from Aden also, I believe, and would spend several months over there, and would eventually immigrate and settle in Rosh Ayin. I believe Rosh Ayin is a very prominent area in Israel at the moment, and he would serve as a head of the religious council over there. And he would also enlist in reserve service and served, I think, actively for 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, until he was appointed as a rabbi of Kiryat, Cron area in of itself. I believe in the year 1952 he was ordained to the rabbinate by Rabbi Reuben Katz, I think, or he was examined to some degree to be part of the rabbinate over there in Israel, and will maintain a close relationship with Rav Katz. And then I think in 1957 he was examined by the chief rabbinate of Israel, which was headed at that point in time by the famous Rabbi Yitzchak Nissim, the great rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. He was a Rishon LeZion and was officiated as a mohel, sofer stam, and Rabbi Rebbe. He already had this position in Yemen, but it was just added on further, let's just say, authorization of this in Israel. I believe in the year 1959, he was asked by the Jewish Agency to go to Yemen and influence the remaining Jewish community over there to immigrate to Israel. He would go to Yemen via an area called the Djibouti, I think, which is part of East Africa itself, and return with a large group of immigrants. He kept in touch, I think, with various different Jewish people in the North Yemen he was corresponding via letters and sending different books, and they would eventually all mostly emigrate, I think, in the early 1990s, by that stage in time. I think, especially during the Six-Day War, there was a connection, became more difficult at that point in time. He continued, it was reported that he continued to maintain correspondence, even through Mossad agents and local aides, where they would deliver books, letters to Jewish people that remained there. I think come with the year 1960 he was appointed the rabbi of Kiryat Akron. He would have been 38 years of age at that point in time, and would serve in this position for 50 years. It was reported over a very prominent position, and I would recommend everyone to learn within regards to that specific area in of itself. I believe in the year 1993, I think there was a gathering done actually in Paris, an exhibition held, and it was under the auspices of the mayor and his deputy, and they wanted to honor the heritage of Yemenite Jews. So Rabbi Yavetz will actually participate, let's say, in this exhibition. He'll be a lecturer over there, and met publicly with various different senior Yemenite diplomats. Very interesting enough. So he was very much a people's person. And Rabbi Yavetz also had a correspondence report with Abed al-Iryane, who served as a prime minister of Yemen. Very interesting enough, and much more I would recommend everyone to look within regards to that. He was in contact with researchers of Yemenite Jewry, including the Professor Yehuda Ratzavi and Professor Aaron Giman and Dr. Aaron Ben David, a scholar of Yemenite Judaism. And I believe before he was appointed to his position in Kiryat Akron, we're going back a little bit, he was affiliated with the Hapoel HaMizrahi party, and he worked for the religious Zionism party, giving lectures, writings, and was known as a passionate, let's say, Zionist in of itself. He was in connection within regards to the Soviet Jewry at that point in time, within regards to immigration, spoke very much within regards to it. He was seen as a peacemaker. He was moderate. He didn't like, let's say, confrontation in of itself in general, but he really promoted Torah to a great level. He did everything he could to help ease the situation of new immigrants, especially, as we said before, from Soviet Union, and the new immigrants from Ethiopia also. So he had a close connection with all of them. I believe there was a street in Kiryat Akron that is named after him. Let's explore some of the great Torah colossal works that he left Am Yisrael with, including Afki Mayim, which is Perushim and Kiddushim teachings on the Torah. I think it was in 2 different volumes, if I'm not mistaken. And then there was the Darkei Noam, which is Sheilot and Shibot, questions and answers, which came out through Avat Teiman, I think in Taf Shin Samachei. The Tza'ada O Se Bivoteha, which is history on, let's just say, the northern Teman, northern Yemenite Jewish community, which I think came out after he passed away. If I'm not mistaken, it was organized by Dr. Aaron Ben David, and very interesting enough. So he was one of the great rabbis, the most famous Yemenite rabbis, Rabbi Ovadia Yavetz of his time, great Torah author, did many, many different Torah colossal jobs, and passed away at about 89 years of age. Yud Bet Shvat, Isi Sirula. Don't forget to light candles in the great memory of the rabbi. We are a community here. We're learning about a lot of the great rabbis of yesteryear. Please share the videos to other people. Subscribe to the channel. If you happen to be related to any of the great Chachamim we are speaking about, please let me send me an email, and I'd love to hear more, and share the videos to others. So wishing well, and don't forget to subscribe also.